Douglas Luiz with the beautiful celebration, but not enough in the end for Villa as they fall 2-1. Villa, way more possession, way more shots, double the shots on goal, and yet at home they come away empty-handed. Don, will Villa be kicking themselves here?
Yeah, I think they will. And I think they'll be kicking themselves when they played Man U at Old Trafford when they were winning 2-0 and lost 3-2. I think you're looking at a Villa side, when you look at their 11, probably 12 or 13 is a very, very good team, stroke squad, but they haven't got the depth. I think from Man United's point of view, it tells you that you can measure everything. You can have data, you can have analysis on players. What you can't measure is a player and a team's confidence, and that's what Man United have got. I mean, thank goodness for them and Man United fans, they didn't sell, and Erik Ten Hag didn't sell Scott McTominay when he didn't want him in the summer, him and Harry Maguire, who I thought was excellent today. So it shows you, if you're willing to spend time and coach players and give them confidence, how good he can be. He's been a game changer for them all season. He's got a brilliant attitude. He scored 2 when he came off the bench, remember, against Brentford, when he completely changed the game, where they were going to get beaten that game off the back of the Palace loss. So it just goes to show, if you can invest in the players that you've got and spend time in them and coach them and give them confidence and give them a little bit of guidance, Man United has still got some very, very good players at that club.
You know what's interesting about McTominay is he scores here coming on as a sub, and he replaces Marcus Rashford. And you're thinking, if a team needs a goal, that's not the sub you're making. And yet, honestly, he's probably more likely, right, Stevie, to bring you that goal. Certainly, if Erik Ten Hag, you've looked over to this guy a million times, and he's bailed you out.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at McTominay's record that we just showed there. So, in some senses, it's a bit of a no-brainer. And at the same time, taking off Rashford, who this season in particular hasn't been putting the ball in the back of the net. So it kind of seems a bit of a no-brainer. But he's popped up and he's produced again. But unfortunately for McTominay, it doesn't matter how many goals he scores like that, he's always going to be coming off the bench.
Why? You think?
Well, because there's other players in front of him. Manu's absolutely 100% ahead of him. I mean, just along that midfield today, the midfield three, Casemiro, Manu and Fernandez, that's going to be their three, definitely for the rest of the season and probably starting next season as well. So that means McTominay doesn't start, but he comes on if they need a goal. That's just the reality for McTominay. And eventually he's going to want away. Whether they want to let him go, I don't know, but eventually he's going to want to leave.
It's that fine line of coming off the bench and making an impact one too many times. Because guess what happens?
Yep.
You're the super sub.
Labeled.
You're the super sub. And so, look, you're effective coming off the bench. Whatever is it that you do coming off the bench seems to be far more effective and efficient than when you start the match. And so, therefore, guess what? Sit right there. You're going to get an opportunity to play. It won't be as long as you want to, but we're counting on you to make a difference. And he has done that. I will say this about the game in general. Aston Villa, and you ask whether they be kicking themselves. Yeah, it's one of those games, if you're Aston Villa, that you walk into the locker room and you kind of go, how did we lose that?
Yep.
What happened? What? Because they had chances. Ollie Watkins has chances. Douglas Luiz had chances even after he scored the goal. They had moments of transition that if they pick out the right pass, Manchester United were all over the place defensively, and they didn't. Onana came up with saves in the first half, came up with saves in the second half. And so if you're Manchester United, you kind of frame this the other way and say, look, we found a way to win a game, a tough match away from home. If you're Aston Villa, you're saying, what in the world? How did we manage to lose that? They deserve a lot more out of this game, but this is not about deserving. This is about execution. This is about doing, and Manchester United did, instead of Aston Villa wishing that they did.
United right now 6 points back of Spurs in the top 4. Don, based on what you saw today, you think Manchester United can make up those 6 points and get into the top 4?
Maybe. I mean, their big hope is maybe in the Premier League this year. Top 5 might get you in the Premier League, but that's very, very complicated. I think the form that they're in, and just on the point, about, Scott McTominay, he's a player that's obviously in form and playing well and scoring goals. And the boys mentioned that he might be on the bench. If you're going on player performances and you look at the performances of Bruno Fernandes, if I'm picking one player that I think is going to be more of a goal threat for Man United, Scott McTominay or Bruno Fernandes, I think it's Scott McTominay. So why wouldn't you play the player in form? He plays at number 10 for Scotland. Steve Clarke plays him in that position. And he certainly scores goals for Scotland. So, yeah, to answer your question, I think they can. They're in good form. They've got to make sure they keep the desire. I think the spine of the team is a lot more settled. I mean, they obviously lost Lisandro Martinez, so that's made them a little bit weaker. But in general, I think the spine with Casemiro's back and Højlund scoring goals looks a lot stronger.
What'd you say there? Not a chance?
There's not a chance. McTominay plays and Bruno Fernandes
Why not?
sits. Because there's not. There's just not.
Why?
You know how the game works. You know, it's not.
But
it's
who's
not
the better
simple.
player?
It's not. Well, Bruno Fernandes is a better player.
No, not on form.
What do you mean on form? McTominay's coming off the bench and scoring goals. What has that got to do with leaving your captain out and playing Scott McTominay? There is not a chance. There's more chance of Aston Villa winning the Champions League this year than Scott McTominay playing instead of Bruno Fernandes.
No, I don't think Ten Hag will do it. I'm asking the question, why would he not do it?
Because he won't. You've just answered your own question.
Well, I know, but he should.
No, he shouldn't.
Don't sound like a very flexible
completely.
manager. I would have hated to play for you.
Completely disrupt the whole... that particular
Why?
move... That particular move would completely disrupt the dressing room. Do you think Bruno Fernandes is not going to go absolutely bonkers?
I mean, is that
Yeah,
a
but
reason
that
why
tells
you
you about
don't
his
do it?
character.
Erik Ten Hag's never been
Of course it
afraid
is.
to do
Of course
to make a
it
big
is.
move. No, he's not. He threw
You
Ronaldo
make
out of the
this-
team.
That's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. What you're talking about are two completely different things. If you want to go and upset the Man United dressing room, you know the best move? Drop Fernandez. Let's see how many hand grenades he throws in when he goes in.
That might tell you, Stevie. That might tell you how
it's
delicate...
not going to change anything at Man United. Man United won this game today because of Harry Maguire, Varane, and the goalkeeper made some saves. It was about
But
a
that might tell
defensive.
you-
It was about a defensive display. There is no way on God's earth that Bruno Fernandes is getting the hook and McTominay starting before him. Not a chance.
Last word to
That might
this
tell you
feud
how
on.
fragile they are. That might tell you how fragile Bruno Fernandes is if he's going to chuck his toys out the pram because he gets dropped. That's when you're Steve, you know what it's like when you play for
And
Liverpool.
that's why he's not
if
getting
you're not
dropped.
performing,
But that's why he's not getting dropped on. He would completely and utterly destroy the dressing room. The carnage that would be caused in the dressing room if Bruno Fernandes, your captain, gets dropped and he plays Scott McTominay because Scott McTominay's in better form.
I mean,
But
he's scoring goals, he's
wouldn't that
scoring
be a
massive
great
goals.
example?
What more do you want from
Wouldn't
a
that be
guy?
a great
coming
example
off the
to the
bench.
kids that are playing at Man
There's a
United?
reason Scott McTominay's coming off the bench. It's because he's not producing from the first minute to the 90th minute. And let's
Stevie,
be
wouldn't that
honest.
be a great example
And let's
for the
be
kids who are
honest,
playing
that's what
at Man
Scott
United?
McTominay does best for Man United. Comes off the bench and scores.
All right, let's bring it back to the top four discussion. No, Don, we're done. We're done. You guys can keep going around on this on extra time.
Not a chance.
Hey, you know what's
I'll
funny
tell you
though?
what, hey, keep your eye on this.
Well, that's a bad example to set to a dressing room.
Hey, you know what's funny though? Don asked a question about an answer that he already knows the answer to the question. So it's
He said he wouldn't drop him.
it's a
No, 'cause
merely
it's Ten Hag's
rhetorical
problem.
question. Yeah,
I would.
Well,
Well, you just said you wouldn't. Three
I
minutes
said
ago.
No, he
Hag
said he
would've-
didn't think Ten Hag would. He didn't think Ten Hag would. Let's
Exactly.
leave it there for now. All right, Manchester United top four.
No.
No? Not just because you've been
No.
yelling about them? Not
Listen,
just because they're not
Aston
putting
Villa,
McTominay in the 11?
In terms of football, look, you've got to give Manchester United credit, right? They bossed the game for 25 minutes until they scored, and then they completely sat in, and they went on the break. And when Aston Villa equalised, there was only one winner. Let's be honest. If you're watching this game rationally, there was only going to be one winner. And I wasn't thinking it was Man United. Because Varane and Maguire, and as I said, Onana made some saves, and Man United got a challenge in whenever it was necessary, or they put somebody off. That's why they won this game today. That's why they won the game today. So they may be on a good run of results, but come on. Aston Villa should have got something out of this game. Man United were fortunate to take 3 points today.
If you had to pick between Villa and United to catch Spurs, who would you pick, Ali?
well, neither.
You had to pick.
It's a dumb question because neither one of them are catching Spurs. But if indeed one of them would be, I would say Aston Villa, actually.
Really? Even despite the fact they lost today?
Oh, are you not seeing the table? Because, isn't there a
A lot of football left. As they say.
I know, but it's a 5-point
outplayed.
differential between.
Aston Villa just outplayed them in football terms.
Yeah.
But they lost at home to them.
Right, but
certainly that matters.
But you can't.
It's a results business, isn't it?
I know, but it's 5 points. Hey, hold on. But it's a results business, so the points matter, right?
Yes.
So the 5-point differential now between Manchester United and Aston Villa matters. Yes.
Yes, but
Okay.
there's some momentum now for Manchester.
Ah.
And you could argue that there's a lack
Okay.
of momentum for Villa. They're not exactly going in the
right.
right direction, are they?
Okay. So hold on, Seb. Let me just get to it. Is Manchester United going to catch Spurs?
I wouldn't bet on it.
Okay, there you go. Then what are we talking about?
I'm also not allowed to bet on it. That's the rules around here. So we.
I thought it was a great question.
Thank you, Don.